Chapter 6. The alley is getting narrower the further we go, like the city is trying to squeeze us out. My shoulder scrapes damp stone. Somewhere behind us, the crowd noise swells, then shrinks again as we turn into a side passage, barely wide enough for one person, let alone two. My guide doesn't care. They move fast and smoothly, and I stumble along because their hand is still clamped to my shoulder like a metal vise. Every time I lag, the grip tightens. They don't bother looking back. We take 3 turns I know I'll never find again. Duck under a sagging arc, squeeze between 2 crooked sheds. The smell changes from market spice and smoke to mold, old piss, and damp wood. The ground under my shoes turns from worn stone to packed mud. Where are we going? I hiss, finally, because my lungs are burning and my brain would like a tiny hint. The hooded head tilts just enough to tell me they heard, but the voice stays low and flat. Away. Very informative, thanks. Do you want a guided tour, or do you want to keep your throat intact, mon cher? They snap. The accent on the last words is wrong. Not local, not anything from Earth that I can place, but there's a curl to it that makes my skin jump. Throat intact sounds good, I say quickly. Then walk. We reach a dead end, or what looks like one. A high wall of rough stone blocks the way forward. To the left is a crumbling back of some building. To the right, a warped wooden door hanging off broken hinges. My guide releases my shoulder, steps past me, and gives the door a sharp kick in exactly the right place. The whole thing doesn't just swing open. It flies in, slamming against an inside wall with a crack that showers dust and splinters onto the floor. Okay, that is definitely not a normal human strength. After you, the hooded figure says, making a little mocking gesture with one gloved hand. Inside, it's not promising. It's a shed. It has the same charm every shed in every world has. 0. Bare plank walls, no windows, a low roof that makes me duck, a broken table in one corner, a pile of old sacks in another, a smell of wet straw and something that once lived here and died badly. It's barely big enough for us both to stand in. I step over the threshold because at this point, why not, really? And as soon as I'm fully inside, the stranger comes in after me and slams the door shut with their heel. The light drops to a thin, gray line along the warped edges. My eyes try to adjust. Before they can, a hand hits my chest and I go flying backwards. I slam into the sacks. Air is punching out of my lungs in a sad squeak. For a second I just lay there, stunned, and think, okay, so maybe throat intact was quite optimistic. Better, the voice says. I hear the scrape of boots on the wood. The figure moves closer. Now we can talk without every idiot in the market staring at us. I push myself up on my elbows, blinking. This is your idea of talking? You're still breathing, no? They say. You're welcome. The hood shifts as they reach up with both hands. Fingers hook under the edge of the fabric. For one stupid moment I expect another human face. Tired, grumpy, maybe scarred, some smuggler, some guard, some normal person from the city. The hood comes down. It is not a normal person. She looks about 18, my age, maybe a little older. Dark hair is pulled back in a loose, messy knot. Skin is pale in a way that has nothing to do with a lack of sun. Cheekbones are sharp enough to cut any rope in the world. And eyes. Her eyes are bright, unnatural red, glowing faintly in the gloom, like someone hid embers behind them. Oh, I say, brilliantly. She bares her teeth at me in something that isn't really a smile. Small, neat, very white fangs show at the corners of her mouth. Not huge, movie style ones, just wrong, sharp, real. Bonjour, she says. The accent is stronger now. The words are brushing against something like French and then sliding past it. I am going to assume you know what that means, mon petit humain. My brain skids on that word. Humain. Like a car on ice. You're a vampire, I say, because sometimes it's important to narrate the obvious. Très bien, he can see. She rolls her eyes. Yes, vampire. Girl with red eyes. Please try to keep up. I scramble to my feet, with heart hammering. The sacks rustle under me. There's nowhere to go in here, but I still take a half step towards the wall, as if I can melt through it if she jumps. Who are you? I manage. My voice doesn't come out as steady as I'd like. Are you going to kill me? She considers the question for a second, with her head tilted, as if she's checking an internal list. Then she shrugs one shoulder. Pas encore, she says. Not yet. Name's Martha. Try not to make me regret dragging you out of that lovely little trap out there. Martha? This name hits something inside my head, like a stone hitting ice. There's an instant crack, spreading fast, but the surface refuses to break. For one wild heartbeat, I see something else. A different night, different city, her silhouette on a rooftop, red eyes watching me. Then is gone, smudged out, replaced by static. I must make some kind of face because her expression sharpens. You recognize it, she says slowly. At least a little. I don't know. I lie automatically, then correct myself because lying to a vampire in a shed seems extra stupid. Maybe I feel like I should, like déjà vu, but my head won't grab anything. She takes one step closer. She's shorter than me, technically, but I don't feel taller at all. We have déjà vu on legs. Très original. She reaches out without a warning and catches my chin between her fingers. Her hands are cool, not corpse cold, just slightly lower than normal. I flinch, but there's nowhere to go. She turns my head left and right as if checking some merchandise. Same face, she mutters to herself. Same ridiculous hair, same stupid eyes. Her gaze flicks to mine and holds. Different inside. Thanks? I mumble through slightly squashed cheeks. She lets go and steps back, with her movements being sharp. All right, Maxime, she says. I blink. It's Max. She waves that away. Max, Maxime, mon idiot, whatever. You're not from here, obviously. Very obviously, I say. This is what? Almiron? Her eyebrows climb a little. You know that word. Intéressant. She folds her arms. Yes, this is a city in Almiron. Not your Earth, not Darton. Another nice little corner of our charming mess. So, there are more, I mutter. Of course there are. She raises an eyebrow. Did you think the universe stopped at your corridor and your favorite war? No, I say. And then, grudgingly, okay, maybe a little. Her mouth quirks, almost making a smile. We will work on that. Silence settles for a moment, filled with the dumb thump of my heartbeat and the faint drip of water somewhere behind the wall. The shed feels even smaller now that my brain has caught up with the word vampire. So you rescued me, I say slowly, from those guys in cloaks, the ones with the metal shoulder things. Royal Guard, Martha says. Les Rois' little dogs. They saw you drop. They saw you stand up in their nice clean market with no dust on your boots and no idea where you were. Humans do not just fall out of the sky here, Max. Yeah, I've been getting that reaction everywhere, I say. They would have had questions, she goes on, ignoring me. Then shackles, then maybe a sword, depends on their mood. Either way, your throat stays less intact than my current preference. Your current preference is me alive? I say. Why? Her eyes glint. Because someone is willing to pay for you. The floor seems to tip a little under my feet. Oh, great. Relax. She leans back against the wall, crossing her ankles. Even slouching, she manages to look like she owns the space. If I wanted to sell you to the first idiot with coins, I would have left you in the square. I have, how do you say, priorité. Her mouth twists on the foreign word. I am supposed to bring you to a specific person in one piece, more or less. Alive always pays better. Who? I ask. She taps a finger against her lips. That, mon cher, is not for you yet. Maybe later, if you do not annoy me too much. That's comforting, I say, in a very specific way. Take it or leave it, she pushes off the wall. Anyways, we are not staying in this charming palace. Nights in these quarters are bad even for me. For you, she looks me up and down. You would last 10 minutes if you do not open your mouth. 5 if you do. I feel so safe. I mutter, but I'm already moving towards the door because between shed with vampire and outside with whoever wants my head, somehow the vampire is starting to edge into the less terrible column. She knocks the door open with another too casual kick. The alley outside is even darker now. Whatever passes for evening in this world is closing in. We slip back out, and she pulls up the hood up again, shadowing her face. Her eyes still glow underneath dim red sparkles under fabric. Stay close, she says. If you get lost, I am not hunting you down in the sewers. I am not that kind of babysitter. Babysitter? I repeat, offended. I'm 18. She snorts. You're 18 and you fell out of the sky into the King's Market. She hooks her fingers in the back of my collar and tugs. Félicitations. Walk. We move through a different maze of alleys now. She chooses routes that twist upwards, climbing slowly away from the stink of the poorest streets. The house is changed around us. Less rotten wood, more stone, fewer holes in the roofs, actual glass in some windows. People we pass are better dressed. Their cloaks are thicker. Their jewelry is only half hidden. The smell improves too. Less rot, more baked bread, and roasted meat. I watch everything, partly because it's new, partly because my brain is trying to distract itself from screaming. Darton's capital had towers and organized lines, a sense that someone once drew it on a map before building it. This place feels older and more chaotic, like it grew by accident, sprouting a street here, an archway there, A whole crooked block whenever someone needed it. There are bits of decoration everywhere, old carved faces over doorways, faded banners, little shrines in wall niches. But it all looks tired, worn by too many winters. How far is this place? I ask after we have taken yet another turn that looks like all the others. Not far, Martha says. Do you want to carry me instead? I would die, I say. Exactement. We turn one last corner and step out into a slightly wider street that lines the inside of the city wall. The wall itself looms above us, huge blocks of stone, moss nesting in the cracks, guards walking along the top. In its shadow sits a building that looks almost cheerful compared to everything else. 2 stories, whitewashed walls, dark beams crisscrossing in a pattern that might once have been neat. A painted sign hangs over the door, swinging in the wind. On it, a bird with absurdly serious eyes. A falcon in a little bonnet. Of all things. The wise falcon, I read out loud, because apparently my brain likes to narrate even when I'm exhausted. Martha's voice is unreadable. Perfect place for an idiot and his vampire, no? I glance at her. You come here often? Only when I want trouble, she says, and pushes the door open. Warmth hits me first. The thick, heavy warmth of a room packed with bodies, food, fire, and bad decisions. Then sound. Voices layered on top of each other, laughter, clinking of mugs, a lute struggling under the weight of some drunk song about heaven and hell. The air is full of smoke from a big fireplace and from pipes. It makes my eyes water. The tavern is almost exactly what every book and game promised a medieval tavern would be, except this time I can smell it. Low ceiling with blackened beams, rough wooden tables crammed close together, benches full of people of various shapes and danger levels, a bar along one wall with barrels stacked behind it, and a large, tired-looking man polishing a mug that doesn't want to be polished. As we step in, conversations falter, sprawl us. Not completely. This place is too busy to freeze, but enough that I feel the weight of several dozen eyes on the back of my neck. Martha doesn't care. Of course she doesn't. She strides straight to the bar, pulling her hood back again as if daring anyone to comment. The room brightens a little when her eyes catch the firelight. A couple of people flinch and look away. The barman sets the mug down slowly. You again, he says. His voice sounds like someone left it in a barrel for too long. Bonsoir, Maître Faucon. Martha purrs. Miss me? That depends, he says. Are you planning to pay for what you break this time by any chance? She taps 2 fingers on the bar. A small pouch lands there with a cling that makes his eyebrows go up. He opens it, peers inside, and his expression shifts from wary to impressed in about half a second. We need a room, she says. 2 beds, somewhere quiet, and food for him. She jerks her thumb at me. He still does that eating thing. The barman gives me a long, measuring look. Whatever he sees there, he doesn't like it. But he likes the money more. Up the stairs, 3rd on the left, he grunts. You break the furniture, you pay double. You kill anyone in the corridors, you clean it up yourself. I will be an angel, comme toujours, Martha says smoothly, scooping the key as he pushes it towards her. We climb up the stairs under the curious gaze of half the room. At least 3 people make warding gestures as we pass. One guy crosses himself with some symbol I don't recognize. A woman at the end of the bar whispers, Red eyes, to her neighbor, who instantly finds somewhere else to look. The upstairs corridor is narrow. The floorboards are creaking under my feet. Martha finds the door, unlocks it, and gestures for me to enter with a little flourish. Après vous, monsieur. The room is small and simple. Two narrow beds, a rickety table, one chair, a tiny window with shutters instead of glass. The walls are bare. The air smells faintly of old straw and the ghost of 100 strangers' dreams. I step in. She closes the door behind us, and suddenly it's quiet. Not real quiet. The tavern noise is seeping through the floor, and the storm is grumbling outside, but quieter than anything since I pressed that red button. I sit down on the bed nearest to the door because my legs have decided that's what will happen right now, and they won't take any questions, unfortunately. The mattress is lumpy and too short, but right now it feels like the softest thing I've ever touched. Martha tosses the key onto the table and leans against the wall by the window, with her arms folded, watching me like she's trying to figure out if I'm worth the hassle. So, I say, because silence feels heavier with her in it, this is cozy? Do not get too excited, she says. We are not staying for long. Lightning flashes outside, followed a few seconds later by a low rumble. Rain starts tapping at the shutters in fast, nervous fingers. Perfect night for hiding with vampires. So, she tilts her head. Tell me what you do, remember? From? She rolls her eyes. From before you fell into my nice little hunting ground, Max. Darton, Nexus, Sasha, all the fun. I swallow. My mouth is suddenly dry. You know her, I say. It's not a question. Her lip curls. I know Sasha, she says. Everyone with a working brain and a badly developed sense of self-preservation knows Sasha. Now, stop stalling. Talk. I start slowly, tripping over the details. How Sasha dragged me through the corridors the first time, how the Nexus looked, endless rows of doors, each one humming with something behind it, how Darton's capital rose out of the plains, all towers and sharp lines, how Alinis glowed gold when he was practicing magic, and how the war felt like a storm that has never really stopped. As I speak, Martha's expression doesn't change much, but her eyes stay fixed on me, bright and very awake. Every time I mention Alinis or Sasha, something tightens at the corner of her mouth. When I say elves, she mutters something under her breath that sounds very much like bastards. And me? She says eventually, when I run out of things that don't feel like lies. Do you remember me at all? I open my mouth to say no, then close it again, because the honest answer is worse. I I rub a hand over my face. It's like someone tore you out of the picture and left the frame. There are places in my memories that feel empty, like something important used to sit there. Being on an elven continent, running through the Nexus, there are moments that feel wrong, like I skipped a page. And every time I try to focus on them, my head fuzzes, static. Her jaw tightens. For a second, the red in her eyes flares hotter, then dims. Of course, she says quietly. Bien sûr. Did did you do that? I ask before I can stop myself. Erase yourself. She laughs, and it's not a nice sound. Ah, no. If I erase something, Max, I do not leave pretty little flames behind. I burn the whole house. She shakes her head. This is someone else's work. Sasha, I say. Maybe. Martha's lips twist. Or someone worse. There are plenty of people who would prefer that you don't remember me. Why? She gives me a long, very flat look. Because I am Martha, she says. Because I live in Darkwood and walk in other people's cities at night. Because I eat things that walk and talk and write bad poetry. Take your pick, mon lapin. Please don't call me a rabbit, I say weakly. She shrugs, unapologetic. Darkwood, I repeat. That's where you're from. We. Her gaze drifts past me for a moment to whatever she sees when she thinks home. Darkwood is our realm, forest trapped in everlasting autumn that never end the right way, halls under the trees, castles like this one wished it was when it was young. Her fingers flicker, tiny red sparks dance between them. My père has a certain position there, which means I do too, whether I want it or not. So you are vampire nobility, I say, because of course she is. She makes a face. Do not say it like that, makes me sound like I drink tea with my little finger up. I bite people, Max. Very different etiquette. Right, sorry. I pause. Your father, is he one of the people who wants to pay for me? Her eyes snap back to mine. For a second I think she will actually answer. Then she shakes her head, sharp. Enough questions. You're not in a position to interrogate me, mon cher. You're still wet from falling. I dried off, I protest, mostly. Inside, she says, tapping her temple. You're dripping everywhere. I can't even argue with that. She pushes away from the wall and strolls around the room once, checking the tiny wardrobe, the underside of the beds, the shutters. Her movements seem all habit. She's done this 100 times. After she's satisfied there are no crossbowmen, murder halls, or surprise priests hiding in our furniture, she comes back to the center of the room and stops, with her arms folded again. Here is what you need to understand, Max, she says, with a much more serious tone now. You are not the only one who knows that you fell into this city. The guardmen saw, the marketmen saw, whispers in Almiron move faster than rats. Before midnight, half the things that walk in these streets will know there is a breathing boy here who came from nowhere. That sounds popular, I say. For the wrong kind of people, we. She ticks them off on her fingers. Hunters who like rare prey, priests who think that humans are souvenirs from their god, mages who think you're a nice experiment, vampires who are bored. She gives me a thin smile. You are a very exotic meat, Max. Congratulations again. So, what's the plan? I ask. Besides, don't die in the next 5 minutes. The plan, she says, is that you stay in this room. You do not open the door to anyone except me, and you do not try to be heroic. I will make sure the person who wants you knows where to collect you. In the morning, we move. Peut-être sooner, if the city starts barking. And if I say I don't want to be collected, I ask. She looks at me for a long moment, weighing something. Then you should have stayed on your little earth and not pressed Sasha's toy, pinpointing your exact location to her, she says, not unkindly. Choices have teeth, Max, especially here. That's philosophical, I say. She snorts. No, that's practical. Lightning flashes again outside. White lines spark across the shutters. The thunder is closer now, louder, like someone is dragging heavy furniture over the sky. Rain is drumming steadily on the roof. Martha moves to the other bed and sits down on it, dropping her boots with a loud noise. She lays back, puts hands behind her head, as if we are just two friends after a long day and not whatever we are. You sleep, she says, closing her eyes. I will listen. For what? For anyone stupid enough to come up here, she says. Or for the sound of half the city moving at once. We will know long before they reach us. That's comforting. I say again and realize I mean it a little more this time. I lay down on my own bed. The mattress pricks at my skin through the sheet, smelling faintly of old straw and soap. The tavern's noise below is a dull, constant murmur. The storm above is louder now. Wind shoving at the shutters, rain scratching, thunder rolling like a huge tired animal turning over in its sleep. In the dark, my thoughts spin. Earth feels impossibly far away, like a show I once watched and forgot to finish. Darton is a blur of gold and stone. Sasha is a knot in my chest I don't know how to untangle. And Martha is lying 3 meters away, pretending to sleep, with her red eyes probably open a slit, listening to every sound. I turn my head. In the gloom, I can just make out her silhouette against the faint light seeping in through the shutters. She looks relaxed, one ankle crossed over the other, but there are tiny red sparks drifting above her open palm, rising and fading like fireflies that got lost. For some reason, that calms me way more than any lock on the door in the world. I close my eyes. The last thing I hear before sleep finally drags me under is her voice, low and distant, almost swallowed by the storm. Dors bien, Max, she murmurs. Sleep while you can. Demain, we run.